right, welcome back to another episode of Procrastination Podcast. Where we talk about anime life and everything in between. I'm Matt,
I'm Robert.
I'm Alonzo.
and we're back here again. Alonzo's house.
Always coming to my house, raiding my fridge, taking my stuff, making my house dirty, using my electricity, water. I ain't got bills to pay, damn it.
We run up that bill.
Run it up. Run it up.
Not that bill. But we're appreciate him once again. Gracious host he is. It's been a good time, and we're here to give another good topic. We almost secured a special guest, but maybe next time.
Yeah.
Okay, but how's everyone been? We had a good trip so far, I think. So.
Yeah. Other than our fear of weather right now, been good. I mean, food always, as usual, around here is top notch, and
Good.
yeah. So
Doesn't make any sense.
trying to try some new things while we're here.
Right.
Enjoying it. Very good.
All right, before I start, I want to give a special shout out to my father. We aren't that close, but he just had a surgery this past week. His last surgery for his prostate cancer. Earlier this month, he rang the bell. So congrats to him. Yeah, congrats to him. He's on the come up. Just proud of him getting through it, just toughing it out. So good to him. Me, I'm doing good. Going down to Mississippi next week, unfortunately, for work. It's going to be hot as hell. It's already forecasted for triple digits, but
Jesus Christ.
and high humidity. Like they usually have numbers for the UV rating. The weather.com just said extreme.
Oh,
Like, there were no numbers, just extreme. So
oh man.
even my black ass might not be safe out there. I'm just saying, but yeah, not looking forward to it. But got to get the work done. Got to make that money.
True. Jesus. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, of course, they don't fear for the weather on both spectrums, storms and heat. All right, don't know. That sounds great. I mean, I was convinced someone was getting struck by lightning consistently on the way up here, but thankfully that someone wasn't us at least. I don't know, man, but they just got way too close for me. I don't know. I need that much further from me. I need like one strike every 6 hours or something like that. And it was coming like every 6 minutes. Not okay. I was convinced someone was getting hit, but glad we made it safely. God willing, and it's been a good trip so far, like you said, and just still on the grind, still got work to do, still working hard out here. But one thing we're always going to be is ourselves. No matter what we do in our lives, I think that's one thing we can definitely say about us and the people around us are always themselves. But unfortunately, I think that is something that is becoming more and more rare these days, is that people less and less are themselves and are kind of just becoming whatever someone else is, which I think we've kind of coined at this point, this term, part of the singularity, which I don't think I make a conscious effort not to be a part of, but I think it's just a matter of making a conscious effort to be well versed in who you are, and just appreciating that part of you, even if you're flawed. Flawed doesn't mean that you're just worthless, or that you're not a good person, that you're not doing anything right. It just means that you have things to improve on, and that's why you live and you keep moving forward to improve on things. And I think a lot of times people see people and they're like, oh, this person has it all together, and it's like, that is no one. That is no one. And the sooner we realize that, the better off we'll be. But anyway, I'm not going to get too far into it without getting you guys' input about, first of all, I guess, do you want to explain more? 'Cause I feel like you kind of coined it, about what you feel that means, the singularity.
And yeah, I mean, Alonso, you asked me the question before. It was like, why did we start calling it that? And it's like, well, I mean, if you think about the technology aspect of it, we were saying that it's all going to one point and going to collapse. Like, we keep building technology smarter and smarter. Eventually, it's going to collapse and now technology beats us. And now, the same thing is happening when it comes to, I think, when it comes to personalities online. And it's like, well, does anyone have an original thought anymore? It's hard to say, definitely yes to that. It's like any event, it seems like here's big group, big majority. Always here's big majority on your thing, and then where is conscious decision anymore? And that's the singularity. It's like, oh well, eventually, if no one has any own decisions, if everyone is the same thing, then what is that collapse going to look like, right? It's like, oh well, if everyone looks the same, then if everyone acts the same, yeah, are there or any real individuals anymore? And that's my fear.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, now what you brought to the topic, and maybe we can get into it a little bit, right? Is okay. Well, how do we get out of it? How do we not be that person?
Yeah.
And yeah, I was looking up earlier in terms of like influencers, and it seems like that's one thing that's becoming big is that term, like influencer.
Yeah. Right.
And I've even seen in like speaking to family and kids and stuff, and that's becoming, how it used to be like, what job do you want? And kids name all these like, oh, astronaut or all this stuff, and now it's like YouTuber, influencer, Twitch person. I'm just like, all right, well, that sucks. Like, once you end up being the 0.01% of people who do that job well, it's like, all right, do I need to, spell out numbers to this child or whatever? But then like to say that this is okay. Well, now these people are specifically influencing these kids and stuff, and I think that's what's happening. Influencer. I looked it up because I was like, what do they even do? and it's literally just a personality, right? It's literally just like, oh, I know a lot about this group of people, so that's what I do. I influence that group of people. It's like YouTubers in general, like Hank Green is one YouTube influencer, and it's just because he knows everything about YouTube because he's been in there for years and years and years. So it's like okay, if you're having people choices external to like the internet being influenced, then those are the only people those are only decisions, that are going to get, only attitudes that are going to get pushed. And that's what's scary to me. Okay. Like, if so similar to like, or like if Hank Green says, I care about this thing, Hank Green's a millionaire. He cares about this thing. Okay. That's probably not what majority of people care about, or at least should normally in the regular day to day. So then it's like, but because he's an influencer, now everyone, here's a large populace, cares about this same thing. And I'm like, okay, that's okay. If there's good to get out of this, I guess it's okay. But then, like, no one's allowed to have that thought that it's just like, but I don't care about this. And is that okay? So I think one of the major things to get out of the singularity, right, is to just I don't even know if there's like a word for it, but it's just to like establish, conscious thought, right? It's like
be human.
It's like you literally have to like take events and make them not impact you as like as this influencer wants you to be. It's like, no. Let me take this face value. Do I care about this thing? It's like, hey, this movie star person did something and got them in trouble. Do I care about this as a normal person? No. Almost never do I care about what a movie star person did. Or any celebrity, really. It's like, I mean, there's sometimes your neighbors, cops come to your neighbor's house and you still don't care about what happened to them. You know what I mean? It's like, and now there's this movie star, and now, hundreds of thousands of comments on this one post, and now you have to care because that's how life is now. That's how the internet is. I'm like, no. Establish conscious thought. Do I care about this? First, face value. Do I care about this? No. You want to make an opinion? Okay, I'm fine with people having opinions. I'm just saying, like, you at least need to realize that, like, on a normal level, these things don't affect you. But I mean, that's my first thing in terms of.
I think that's basically called groupthink, right?
Yeah.
It's basically what we're getting at, which I guess is used to control the masses, in general. So yeah, I think that's the tough part, though, right?
Yeah.
It's like how do you're in the masses?
Yeah.
How you are in the masses,
and that's how you're trained. And it's
right.
like, there's people, like I said, people growing up being raised and born by the internet.
Right.
It's like, oh well, this is who I want to be. This is how I want to function, and to tell them that's unhealthy. One and two, that's just weird. It's not normal, dude. It's not normal to have an opinion about everything. It's not normal. It's like, okay.
Definitely no. Seems very draining. I don't know. Like,
right?
I care about everything. You do now. Okay. like, are you tired? Did you take a nap today? Because that sounds awful. Just spend your entire time caring.
My granddad watches CNN every day. Sits in his room angry, fucking so frustrated. Like, this shit happened today. This shit happened today. This shit happened today. I was like, Granddad, if you turn it on, you're gonna be upset. How about you just don't?
Right.
Yeah, when I first heard this topic from you, I was like, let me think about loss of individuality. That's what I was thinking about, because I didn't really understand the topic at first. And they had articles going back to 1909 about loss of individuality.
1909.
And I was like, okay,
is insane.
People have been writing about this for decades. It's coming to a head. Like, people are losing themselves. They're not doing things that they should be doing for themselves. They're all going part of this group thing. And one example I thought of was Trumpism. It started out as the Tea Party when Obama was elected. Everybody got sort of crazy when a black man got in power, and they were like, all right, it's time to take off. Well, it's time to put on the Klan mask and go out in public. But I don't know. It's sort of weird. They feel more comfortable being bigots, being racist, being sexist, being all these terrible things out in public. These guys are just lost in the sauce because a black man was elected president. But they scream freedom, and they want to die for it for some reason. Like January 6th, Ashley Babbitt got killed for the insurrection for no reason. And I'm just like, these people are out of their minds. They're infected in the head with the sickness of Trump. And I think that's part of the internet's fault. All the racist stuff festered in 4chan coming out into the main media, like Fox News, CNN, Newsmax, all these news companies coming out, propping up Trump and putting him to the public in a way that he shouldn't have been seen, like in a light he shouldn't have been seen in. Like, he's a bad person. He should be seen in a bad light. But they're problem up. This man is a god. And I was just like, that's heresy. That you can't do that.
Right.
And anyway, that's what I thought about, was just Trumpism, just being a cult, essentially people losing their families
Mm,
over their beliefs now because
right.
they see this man as doing no wrong,
Mm,
and it's so weird. And part of that is the internet coming into play there. But
yeah, I think, but the fact that you told us about, and you showed us the article from 1906, the fact that it's been, I'm sure it's even been even before then, but the fact that it's been a clear, notable thing
mm,
since then, you know, notable enough to write, eloquently, I might add, about that scholars noted then as this is something that is already kind of an issue and will probably continue to be an issue, which is essentially what it said in the article. And it's kind of crazy. Like there was obviously no social media in 1906.
mm,
There was no internet in 1906. But yet still to the masses, there are things that are distributed in a way and in such a plethora that it almost gives people no choice but to form a strong opinion in one way or another because it's exposed. You're exposed to it so frequently and so constantly. It's like either you can duck and dodge it consciously to completely stay neutral, or you can, unfortunately just be hit in the face by all the craziness and then have to form an opinion, or just be totally crushed under the weight of those opinions and then just go a little loony, to be honest. And some people, like I said, they just go with the decision of, whoever's around them, or they say one thing that you might agree with, and you're like, okay, so I'm going to agree with everything else they say because I said one thing that I agree with. And a lot of that is because, again, they're just trying to they're getting so much information they don't even know how to process it. So they're going to find the first thing they can process and latch on to that, and they're going to hold on to that for dear life because there's not a single person on the planet that likes to not feel like they understand. It's like I'm lost. No one likes that feeling. No one likes that feeling. So most people don't understand stuff. What do? They get mad. They get mad. That's what most people do. Um, and I think that's what we see is like, you try and talk to people, speak logically. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. But that's because the logic it's over their head, right? It's at the point where it's like they've refused to accept anything else besides what they've already seen as logic. So if someone, even if this is pure, which are being purely facts, only facts, doesn't matter. If someone does not see them as facts, they're not facts to them. And I think you just gotta just walk away from those people for one. But I think the issue is that the internet has allowed so many of these people a platform that wouldn't have had a platform, for one. And then it's allowed people that normally wouldn't have been, able to communicate these crazy ideas, all these platforms to communicate these crazy ideas and let them fester and grow even more than they ever would have by themselves. Like there was a joke by this dude, Josh, I think Josh Johnson, right? And he made a joke about a cult and that his brother was in. And he's like, oh, he went to the cult thing trying to see what it was about. And he was like, he went to the cult thing. He was worried about how into it his brother was getting. And there's 3 people in the cult. So he was like, oh, this is not a cult. This is a club. It doesn't, he was then unbothered by all of it. But that's the point. Like with stuff like that, eventually it'll just fall flat because it's not enough support. So eventually it's just not enough to support I don't want to call it a delusion to be mean, but not to support that idea. So you end up just dropping it. You move on to something else. But there's people around to support every crazy idea, no matter what it is. So because of that, again, people want to feel like they understand, feel like they're understood, and feel like they belong. So there's place for all those sorts of people that didn't feel those things, which I don't think, like, again, I don't want people to feel like that. But you shouldn't look for, those things in things that are just, for one, straight up harmful to think or believe in to other people and to yourself. And things that are just straight up illogical. Straight up, unhelpful for you or anyone around you, to believe in. And that's the issue, though. It's like we've all these things that people decide to devote all this energy to. And it's like a lot of it is to avoid actual problems. And then a lot of it is to, again, feel like they're in some sort of power, which is, again, understandable. But speaking back to your point, does it actually speak to what's important to you? Are you losing things that are important to you because of this? And like, are you losing important parts of yourself because you're, diving so deep into these things that, you just want to feel a part? You don't actually really care about. You just want to feel a part. You want to feel belonging. You want to feel important. And if you're getting your post about whatever thing, and that gets you 1,000 likes, 1,000 people like you. That's how people think about it. 1,000 people like me now for this thing, so I'm gonna go all in on this. Forget all the other parts of my personality. I'm just this now. And that's the unfortunate part. And again, it's going on before the internet, so it's not just the internet's fault. But it's like it's unfortunate that like that's what it's kind of continuing on to be, instead of also having the same thing where it's like, oh, there's so many diversity of ideas. I can see what other people think on this. But instead of that, they're like, no, I'm gonna stick with my stuff, and I'm gonna go deeper on that. And that's unfortunate that we, instead of using it to broaden our horizons, we use it to narrow it even more. Which I'm like, that is so stupid. But that is the reality of things for the most part. Not everyone, but a lot of people.
There's a Black Mirror episode where it's like the people are going through normal life, but you can interact with people. Like you can kind of like or dislike any interaction you have with a person, and the lower the amount of likes you have in your life, like the more shunned you become, and so any interaction you kind of really want a positive reaction, so you act in a certain way that's like, hey, all right, thank you, kind of thing. It's just so that you can get a positive reaction. And and that feels similar. Where now all we want, well, especially these people who want to be influencers, right? So we're going up here and trying to use our platform, or whatever, to influence the masses by, reacting a certain way to something that we don't necessarily, care too much about, or whatever. And yeah, it ends up being like, it feels fake, because all you're trying to do is increase your number of pluses, so that now I have a number that represents how good I've been doing in life. It's like, I have 10K followers, so come on, I'm doing great in life. But yeah, so that's definitely weird. Back to something. Before I say that, the article also mentioned that, like, all right, when we think that we're making the individual choice, like, okay, I'm not like them. I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna do me. I want to go this route, and you realize that there's also a particular group formed for that thing too. Yeah. And that's the thing that kind of throws people, crazy, where it's just like, no, I'm not like that.
Neither am I. Neither. Oh wait, we're not.
Yeah, it's like, I disagree with that one thing, so I'm different. And then you go over here, and everybody's like, I'm different. Like, it's like, all right, well, are you though? It's like, that's not that. Disagreement is not what individuality makes. You know what I mean? It's like, it's what really, you should be like I said, like thinking about your personal opinions, your personal, interactions, conscious decisions, that you feel, not necessarily, strictly influenced by everyone. But back to you, Alonzo. I'm wondering now how, like, especially, directly for Trumpism, right? How then do we negate that? How do we get those people outside of that mindset?
I felt like every all these people had the hate in their hearts already, and the certain events led up to them being emboldened to display those in public. The Republican Party is just lost forever. There's no going back for them. Ron DeSantis in Florida, fuck him. He's doing crazy things, changing history, making it so that slavery sounds like a good thing for black people. There were some black Republicans in Florida who tried to say, like you said, come up and say, hey, I'm against this one thing. And DeSantis was like, you're not true Republicans then. That's crazy to me. like these black Republicans said, like, you've gone too far. We disagree with this one thing. We still want to be Republicans. But we disagree with this one thing, and they're shunned for it. But for these Republicans, for these Trump cultists, um, saving them, a lot of them are just so far gone. They are beyond saving. They've lost their family. They've lost their jobs. They've lost businesses. They've I don't know how to go about doing that.
Once you drink the Kool-Aid, right?
Once you drink the Kool-Aid, it's still going back. You know what I'm
sorry, bro. Not turning this too political. Not turning this too political.
Right.
I'll just say that I you know, with anyone that is, you know, gone down one of these paths where they are just like, you know, maybe not thinking to them. I mean, again, you know, people that go into cults. Why do they people? You know, there's reasons people go into these things, and a lot of it is, like I said, lack of belonging. You know, lack of feeling of powerless. You know, feeling like they're powerless. You know, those sorts of things, and you know, aligning yourself with what feels like a powerful side makes you feel in control, makes you feel in power, emboldened, like you said. I mean, are people going to give that up easily? Probably not. Probably, especially if they haven't, you know, felt that for a large part of their life. Are they going to give it up? Probably not. I mean, unless you have a way to replace that, which probably don't. You probably only have, you know, healthy relationships that you want to replace it with, you know. So it's difficult. But I mean, you know, the one thing I want to say about the political part is, I think it's just super sad in politics because, like, they love to quote so much about, you know, forefathers and all these things. I'm like, one of the, you know, first things the forefathers said when they founded the country was like, and again, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm the biggest historian or the biggest, you know, politician or the biggest guy on U.S. government and patriotism in general, but I was there in history class and I saw a big ish that they wrote where they was like, yeah, we shouldn't do parties ever. All of them got together and agreed that early on. You know, I'm just saying, very early. They saw this is not going to lead to good things. And this is why. That's all I'm saying. That was set very early on, you know, and these are you guys' forefathers that you love so much, and all their amendments that you want to abide by and follow and get held up, then hold up that one. Dissolve the parties, go back to where things used to be, and solve it that way. It'll still be flawed, but it should be a lot better than this. But anyway, I digress.
Similar to what we're saying in general, right? It's like, all right, then it will be more individual. Right. It's like, all right.
You pick a person based on policy.
I want to know how this guy is going to make, you know, my life better.
Right. My life better, America better. Right. Whatever. Yeah. So.
But, yeah.
I mean, I think, again, I mean, it can be good things too. It's good that can come from it too. Which is the other thing is that, you know, again, like you said, regardless, you're going to be in a group. There's no, like, people want to say. People still have this like quote now, like, I'm different, you know, I'm different. Like, okay, sure. But anyway, but again, are you so much different that there's no one else like you? Probably not. Like, but again, it's like people want to be individualized, but they don't want to be alone. They don't want to be alone. That's the thing. I'm like, if you're truly individualized, you are by yourself, and that is not what people want to be. No one wants that. You know, the superstars at the very top, you know, the Michael Jacksons, LeBron James, Michael Jordans. Those people, I'm telling you, you talk to them, they'll tell you how isolated they felt at times. You know, a lot of them are, you know, some of them have passed away, obviously. But a lot of them will have talked about, even in interviews, how isolated they felt at times. And that is not a good feeling. Yeah. You know, so I think it's a, you know, be careful what you ask for one sort of thing. But also, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, just because you're in the group doesn't mean you're not making, you know, conscious decisions. And that's okay. Yeah, if you're making conscious decisions to be a part of certain groups, part of certain ideologies, that's, you know, even if they're weird, at least you're thinking about it. At least you're weighing it. At least you have reasoning behind it. At least you're thinking about it, you know. At least those things you can say are your decisions. So, like, for me, I would say, for me, when I make a decision in life, I'm like, what decision would I regret the least? That's how I make my decisions. If I'm going to regret this decision the least, then I do that. If someone, you know, is with me in that, cool. If they're not, then also cool. That's what it should be. If someone's with you, awesome. If someone's not with you, also should still be awesome because it's your decision and you should be happy with your decisions. If it's a decision you're not happy with, maybe you just shouldn't make it. No matter if someone's with you or not with you, you know. But, you know, people get, again, influenced by all sorts of things, and sometimes they're influencers on social media, sometimes they're influencers in their own lives, and I think that's been an issue obviously since a very long time ago, and now it's just like people that are literally called influencers, and I think it's now an easier thing to point out, but still been going on for forever, and it still doesn't change the fact that people need to start trying to, think about these things, but doesn't mean that you have to just avoid it at all costs. Like, okay, I'm just gonna never look at news or never look at social media or never read anything about influencers or just avoid again. Doesn't mean it has to be a terrible thing, because if people come together and like, okay, we're having this group think moment, but everybody's getting together to help out hurricane survivors. That's great. Good. Do that, or everyone's getting together to fund, cancer research. Also great. There's good things that can happen from this too, or people that want to get together and do social reform, for these, some of the terrible things that are still going on in America and other parts of the world. That's fantastic. Like they're great things that can happen when people are like-minded and are, putting those ideas together and hopefully forming better ideas even so together, and then putting action behind that. But, again, it's like the more you make that your decision to do, the more, for one, you're going to get out of that decision. But also, the more you're going to be able to put into that and feel good about it. How much of the stuff people do is just like they do it, and then immediately after, like, well, that's a waste of time, or, well, I don't feel that great now, or now I'm in the same place as when I started this, and now I feel stupid, and so I think that, it'd just be better for people to work on the good aspects of it, and to be, recognize it as not necessarily always a bad thing, but just as something you could use to better yourself in general.
Yeah, I definitely think that like individuality can still occur in groups, right?
Right.
Like that's not what I'm saying, but I am saying that like for instance, when you were on when we were looking at dating app stuff, right? And you will get up there and you will see same person, same person, same person, same person, same person. Their likes the same, their dislikes the same. I'm like, yeah, I mean, maybe this is there's some norms there, and that's okay. But I think when it comes to like people being honest about who, like similar to what you were saying, like about who they are and how they respond to things, like I don't think that the things would come out exactly the same every time. It's like that's the thing that like I don't think that people are actively doing. They're like, oh well, this is now the norm. So that's what I feel. That's what I feel. I'm with the norm. And I'm like, well, that just with the norm is abnormal, right?
Right.
Like that is not how people should think, or at least not that I feel. But I to that degree, I wanted to talk about like yeah, normality in general, like used to be a thing, like it was okay, like there was no, we're not gonna make it a group that like people like this or don't like this. It's like, oh no, that's like normal, right? He's just normal. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
But now it seems like well, back to the dating app thing, when that one thing said like I'm neurodivergent or whatever, or like saying like gray sexual, something like that. And I was like, okay,
No.
like maybe these people are different, but it sounds, well, from reading just generally about what those two things really like generally meant, it was so normal that it to me it felt like you just want to be in this other group. It's now normality is being abnormal, which is so weird. Like, how is that? You could just be like, it's okay. The regular things. It's like I like the regular things. That's okay. But it's like not anymore. Not anymore. That's not okay anymore. It's like nope. I'm in this particular group, this particular thing, and I am, just like these particular people.
I'm not weird. There's others like me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, me. Yeah.
Now all we could be weird together too. I'm just saying.
I don't know. That may be a little sort of dangerous thinking.
Yeah.
Like, I know some people are saying, "Oh, everybody wants to be trans now," and they don't understand that trans people, like, they want to do this, but there's also terrible, terrible side effects for it, like medical wise, and then the bullying, the hatred, the like.
Right.
It's not something everybody wants to do just because it's popular.
Right.
Like they've made up in their minds that this is who they want to be, and they just have to take the lumps with it, and they have to live with that for the rest of their lives. And it's I know it's hard for them, but like I know it's just saying like it's normal to be abnormal. I get what you're saying, but maybe a little dangerous for some groups of people who think who want to do something a certain way. I don't know.
I definitely agree that. Well, I'm not going that far, right? Especially in terms of like real minorities, right? Like real people that like obviously the a low percent of people, and like go ahead and now that be your identity is okay, but when you're like not, it's also okay. Like, it just seems like that's now, I don't want to say like no, like in some degree, pride is definitely good, but like it seems now that like if you're not prideful in who you are in that particular aspect, then that's frowned upon, right? It's like and that's where I'm just like. I don't know. That just feels weird to me. It's like, oh well, I'm. Do I have to say that I'm allied with the trans people? Like, do I have to say that? That's that's the problem. It's like that's normal. Yeah, why would It's like I'm like Black Lives Matter, you know what I mean? It's just like you have to say that. That's this is the problem.
Fortunately.
Right?
Unfortunately,
this is the problem. Like why
No, I mean I definitely get both sides of it. I definitely think it's a slippery slope, as we always say on here. But I mean I think part of that is people wanting to express themselves for the sake of making others feel comfortable that may not be comfortable expressing themselves. And for things like Black Lives Matter, it's because they feel like some people need to understand that this matters. So I think it's and that's some people. I mean, that's the issue. That's where it starts. That's the reason most of these things start. Now the reason they continue is more usually the issue than the reason they start. The reason a lot of stuff starts is generally, as far as like these trends and stuff like that, they generally start off pretty benign, pretty positive, for the reason that they want to do things. There's usually some sort of sentiment behind it. Like it generally, it's good stuff. But then it gets made into memes, jokes, people doing it just for likes, people doing it just for followers, people doing it for content. Oh, guess what, guys? Today I'm, doing a special Black Lives Matter episode. Like, really, really, or oh, today, I'm, coming to a pride parade. I'm like, you've never gone to one before, so why? So now it's important. Like, okay, but again, it's fine for people to change their opinions, but are you changing your opinion, or are you capitalizing on the newfound interest in this? And that becomes the issue. And now all of a sudden, companies have Pride Month celebrations. Oh. And now all of a sudden we care about Juneteenth as a holiday. Oh, we care now. It hasn't been a holiday before now. Oh, okay. It should. Okay, great. So I'm just like, again, that is where it becomes a little bit, I think, just I guess annoying, for lack of a better word, for a lot of people that are kind of paying attention. Is like, okay, all these things were never not. issues or never not things that people cared about. So why now all of a sudden there's this spike, and it's purely because of you know the spike in interest in people using these things for their own benefit. And I mean, to an extent, that can be a good thing because it spreads awareness. But then to the other extent, like you said, sometimes you oversaturate a market and it ends up making people become apathetic towards something that they really shouldn't be apathetic towards, you know. So that's my always my fear with a lot of it is like, again, I don't think you should ever force people into change. I don't think forced change is sustainable change ever. I don't think it's ever sustainable change. So I think that is why I'm always scared of even when I tell people my opinions on things. I'm like this is my opinion. Like I don't want you to change because of this. This is how I think about it. Like there are other ways to think about it, and if you think about it like that, that's cool. But this is just my opinion. Now, if you want to, use my opinion to inform your opinion and maybe make a change in your thought, that's fine. But never would I want someone to change their opinion purely because of something I'm thinking. I don't think it's going to lead to sustainable change. And the point of adulthood to me is to make step by step sustainable changes to make yourself into a better person. And that comes from self-reflection, comes from acceptance of other people's ideas, which people are really not that great about, even though they want to act like they are. And that comes from, again, reflecting on how you feel about those things. And that's none those things don't happen in these sort of groupthink singularity situations because you're just absorbing other people's opinions or just becoming a part of them, like instead of actually, forming and thinking things through. And that becomes a dangerous precedence when you have a large group of people in a country that are not free thinkers because you don't have innovation, you don't have progress. You just have people that follow and give more of the same, and that stagnates the society. Which I don't think we're anywhere near that point. Definitely don't think we're anywhere near that point. But I think that's the danger and what a lot of people were speaking about from back then until now is that's the danger we're looking at is stagnation and lack of progress as a people and definitely individually. And I personally don't like the feeling of not being, making progress on myself. But
I have like another example, and it's like the Me Too movement, cancel culture stuff, which is again another like, yeah, like you said, started with good intentions. Hey,
right, yeah.
this stuff is happening. You speak out on this stuff, and yeah, but then now it's become more and more about like, oh well, every relationship that you see socially should be judged in some way. It's like especially if there's you know some hostility on some front or whatever. And I'm like, that's so weird to me. And like, yeah, I've been on Twitch and stuff, and like people are up there like have relationships, and then like they separate or whatever, and then there's like discussion about canceling these people that like I don't know what to say, like
They broke up.
like yeah, they like only had conversations remotely. I'm just like, ugh. To me, it just seems like okay, you can't. Like I won't say you can't, but it just seems to me like we're going way too deep in terms of what can be canceled for, right? In that way, and I'm just like, again, why are these people having opinions about these things? It's just weird to me. That not a conscious decision is made when somebody says, "Hey, I was talking to this girl and I just wasn't really nice to her and we broke up because I wasn't nice. I was an asshole." And your opinion has to go. Oh, you were an asshole, so you need. I can't even look at you anymore. This is
Get out of my sights.
You know what I mean? Like
Fiend.
to me, that's just so weird. And one of my the other point I wanted to make
No facts.
is that like to me like it used to be being a good person it was normal. You know what I mean? Like now it's like
It's hard.
it's like, or well, you were part of this group. these group of people, they are actively fighting this thing. That would make you a good person. Like that's like abnormal now. These you know, and once you give somebody a group that thinks otherwise, right? Or even thinks like I'm saying, like, yeah, not being a shitty person towards a person of a different race or whatever should not be group worthy. You know what I mean? It's like,
You love these people.
this is normal, bro. Like, just do the thing. But I don't know. Like you said, starts out with good intentions there, yes. But now it just becomes like this. It's like, oh well, you're not part of my group, so then you're not that thing. Like, you're not a feminist, so you don't like women. You know, and it's like that. It's like, what are you saying? Like, I'm just a normal, whatever, you know, whatever, you know, like, it's like, I'm not trying to bring down that group.
Right.
So does that make me a feminist, or does that make me normal? It's just, I don't know. It just, to me, it just seems like more and more people just go, oh, I'm jumping on that bandwagon. Yeah. I'm jumping on that bandwagon. It's like, oh, to be a good person towards women, you gotta be a feminist. So I'm a feminist. To be a good person towards black people, you gotta be Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. To be this, it's like, well, are you thinking about these things? Are you directly politically involved in these things, or you're literally just jumping on the bandwagon with no, no mind, no thought in your head at all? So. Right. Very, very, weird. Normal's gone. Do you feel like normal's gone too?
I would say normal is gone. I wanted to bring up something I saw. I think it was like the Ku Klux Klan in some state was having like diversity initiatives.
Wait, diversity initiatives?
Yeah, yeah. People are saying they had gone woke. This is another word that's been bastardized.
Oh god.
All the hell.
Yeah, terrible.
To mean things people don't like, but yeah. I think it was like the Ku Klux Klan was having a drive. One chapter of the Klan was having a drive to say, "Hey, let's bring all these other diverse people in. We're not the same Klan that hates on people. We're the Klan that wants to bring America back." Like, I was just like, that's so weird. Like, the fuck is wrong with y'all? Get the fuck out of here with that Klan mess. Like, I don't know. Like, normal is gone.
Crazy.
Hip hop is dead. It's been 50 years.
I
wanted to bring that up as well. Like, individual, like the individuality, the newness in hip hop. I don't see that anymore.
Oh, true. Yeah,
so
that's
it's
true.
been 50 years. Pour one out to hip hop. We'll see if it makes a comeback at some point. But anyway, I don't know where I was going with this. Somebody jump in.
Yeah, actually, I mean, a small link to hip hop from since our last when we got AI. Like, I'm scared for hip hop because AI now has like AI versions of all these artists, AI Drake and all these people. Are people just gonna listen to Drake for another 40 years or something? Even when Drake retires, I'm gonna have AI Drake. I don't want to hear AI Drake. I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to hear him. I don't want to hear real Drake anymore. I love Drake when he first came out. I was one of Drake's biggest fans. Self-proclaimed, and nothing to do with him blowing up. Was not trying to be indie or anything like that. His music just fell off. It wasn't that good. Became pop music, and I'm not a pop music fan. Mm-hmm. Well, some is bangers, so we don't say that. But generally, I feel like so. Like, okay, like, I'm good on it, but yet he's popular enough. I'm like, man, are they gonna just monopolize this and just keep it going for freaking ever? And I'm scared about that. Like and that's gonna just continue to shut out new ideas for like another, however long. Which, anyway, okay, I hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, I mean, people. I think, yeah, definitely. Normal is never a word I like that much in the first place, to be honest, because I'm like, how do we quantify normal? Like, is there like is there some sort of standard deviation from the norm that we have on a bell curve somewhere? Do we have a chart? Do we have something, that standardizes normal? And I don't feel like we never necessarily did. I feel like it just ended up being something that people used to pick on people. Like, oh, he's not normal. Yeah. So I never liked normal in the first place, but um, I hate this. What we have now even more. I hate this. Everyone, I'm so special. Even more like everyone is special, but not necessarily the way you think that you're special. I mean, you don't necessarily determine always the way that you're special. Sometimes you do. You work hard. You do be, in a certain career field or a certain sport or whatever. Yeah, you determine that's special. Fair enough. But a lot of that is just who you are. And I just think people just need to learn to accept certain things. It was like even Kevin Hart's a very recent stand up now. I'm not even going to say the stream platforms. I don't want to give free advertisement. but he talks about even there how so many people used to be okay with the way they looked. Right? It's like, okay, I got these ears or this nose. If it is what it is, that's me. You know. And then it's like now it's like, oh, okay, I don't really like this nose. I don't like that person's nose. You know what? I'm gonna get that nose, and then you'll get plastic surgery or something. I'm like, plastic surgery is to me as a cosmetic thing is again very lucrative, but it just perpetuates everything that's wrong with the current state of the world, and I don't think that people have don't have the right to do it. But I'm like, to me, it's never worth the risk to undergo a surgery that you don't need, you know. But plastic surgery was there for people that get severe burns, go through traumatic events, go through car accidents, get attacked by face slashers, crazy people like that are going on in like England and New York and stuff like that sort of stuff, so that you can go back to your normal life. That's what it was for. People that go to the wars, go to military, get blown up, and so they're fighting for the country. They're fighting for us. I am not a fighter. I ain't gonna do it. So they're doing it for us, and they have to come back with all these traumatic injuries. Yeah, that's what plastic surgery was for. That's what it's for. And or even you get an infection, get some infected leg, and you lose part. Yeah, okay, you need plastic surgery. Like that's what it's for, and that is the novelty and the extremely great part of it, and that's why it's so important in medicine. It's super important. You need to have plastic surgery for sure. But now we're in a state where it's like, oh, I am slightly dissatisfied with this one part of me. Let me go and change that. And being a part of a group is another way to do that. Is, oh, I'm slightly dissatisfied with this part of my personality, or what people have called this part of me or this thing I'm interested in weird. So I'm going to indulge in this privately, and then publicly, I'm going to do all this stuff that other people like, so that I can get friends or notoriety or followers, or people don't think I'm weird, or or people think I'm unique enough, but not unique enough to isolate me, but unique enough to want to be around me. And I'm like, okay, but again, that still steers you away from the same things you need to be working on, which I thought you're supposed to do when you're an adult. Work on self-acceptance, growth, things that you're actually progressing as a human being, so that you can teach those that are younger than you. Well, this is irregardless of if you have children or not. The responsibility of an adult is to teach those younger than you. That has nothing to do with children or not. That is your responsibility. That's the reason people have elders when they're in villages and stuff like that, when they're in all the things in history. There's a reason we look up to the oldest guy, not just because he's your granddad or something. Mm-hmm. It's because he's supposed to have the knowledge of life. Not the escapes and running away from every possible problem that we have, which is what we do so much of the time. And I'm not saying that it's a problem to never run away from a problem. Sometimes you need to step away so you can figure out a way to address it better. But don't just, have problems with yourself and then think that you're gonna need the plastic surgery and you're gonna be, yep, I'm gonna love it perfectly and I'm gonna be perfect. Because I guarantee you there's very few people that go into, actually I know it's not, I don't have to guarantee it. You can look at the stats yourself. The people that go and get one plastic surgery, they don't just get one. They go in for one and, oh well, I can touch up this then. And I can touch up this then. And I can touch up these then. I can touch up my lips, I can touch up my eyes. It's a never ending cycle and just keeps going, because you're never gonna be satisfied. I want you to do one thing and then put something else out of proportion. That's not how you're made. Like, I get it. We want to look like this person on TV, or the person that gets all this admiration. But at a point, there's someone that wants to look like you too, whether you believe it or not. And I'm like, we got to learn to appreciate that part too. And I think people just got so caught up in only seeing what everyone else, the vast majority, is appreciating. We get lost in the fact that we should appreciate some things that maybe there's people still under us still seeing us at work or seeing us, in the street or seeing us, coming home or whatever, that are also saying, oh, wow, I kind of wish I had that too, or wish I could be like that, or wish I could be, look like that, or wish I could, do that or have that skill or talent. We're always discrediting ourselves, everyone, and I can't even say just America. I think it's a worldwide thing, and that's why we're so depressed and we're so down. We're always discrediting ourselves. We're great people in general. The world, I don't believe there's a lot of people that are out here you just have no potential to do anything. I don't believe that. Like you have potential to be great. You have potential to do things. Yeah, you might have to work for it. Maybe you've got to work harder than a lot of other people around you, and that sucks. But it doesn't mean that you just have to sit there and think that I can never accept this part of me or this part of my life, and I cannot change it any other way without either conforming or just straight up, running away and getting rid of it, or running away and changing it by some unnatural mean. And I hate that people have to get to that point where there's so much self-loathing that they have to get to that point of, I have to just not be me to be to be me. I have to not be me. And that is the saddest part about it. And I just want people to be accept themselves. And I don't know whether I got lost as a thing that was important to teach kids, but we need to start getting back to it. And whether you're a parent, teacher, whatever your job is, it's not wrong to tell someone like, yeah, you're great about yourself. Like, who you are, you're great. Why is that bad?
Yeah, I think definitely later when you get older, you realize that like things aren't as black and white, right?
Right.
Like it's not whether or not you're beautiful or ugly or something. It's like, look, man, like I look how I look. Like there's I wouldn't say there's no conscious amount of like, am I beautiful or am I ugly kind of thing. It's just like
Right.
like I look how I look, and
Right.
that's that's done. There's no more questions needed. But yeah, it feels like people definitely don't look at it that way. And yeah, it's hard to say that like there aren't times that you know I had those same
Right.
kind of questions, and yeah, but then you get to a point where you're like, yeah, I can be like actively loathing the things about me, but or I can just be like, well, they're me. Like, why not just does there need to be any change? I don't see the point. But yeah, I will say, to play devil's advocate though, like, on the side of like, you know, similar to what Alonso was saying, like you get over to like the trans community, and they're like, oh well, I don't feel right in my body. Now that's a different statement than I
I don't
I
like
don't
my butt.
right, yes. Like I want to be a little bit more augmented in this way. It's like that's not what the same thing is. It's like, oh, I don't feel this. I don't feel right in this body. It's like, all right, and again, not something I experienced, so I don't really have any any real like example to that. But it just feels like you know like how it's said. It's said completely differently. But yeah, it does seem like more and more people are just like, oh well, there's black and white. There's beauty and there's ugly. If you're ugly, fix it. Get beauty. Beautiful.
Not if you're ugly, fix it.
Yeah. Like, wow. Is that
I get
really
you, son.
is that it, right? And like, you know, like I don't really want to talk too much about like the female aspect of things, because again we don't really know it, but like it seems to me that makeup and stuff is advertised more and more, and it's just like, okay, well, if the point you're making is that you know what you look like right now is not good enough, here, buy this product, do this, like that seemed like it would not be healthy always, like, all right. But again, that's a male perspective on a completely female thing.
I do. It's one quick thing on that, because I would almost feel insulted if I was a woman. I feel like, because I had a dude when I walked out one time. I was walking into some store and it was beside a barbershop. And dude was like, "Hey, you need a cut? Come get a cut." I'm like, "Man, what?" You say to me? Just because of that, I ain't coming to your shop, man. I ain't get no cut from you. I got a cut lined up this afternoon. Thank you. Like, and I think it's about this at the time. I really didn't give a freak about I really didn't care about more hair at this point. And I was like, this guy. I don't care about this guy. At this point, but I don't know. I think for me at that point, again, it was important for me because I was like, he was gonna say that because for him, he thought it was a problem. But there's several other people that didn't think it was a problem, or either they didn't care enough to say anything. So either way, apathy is fine for me because it's my hair, right? And it's like these people, it's your face. If you're okay with your face, then you're good. Right.
Right.
If you're okay with your face, then you're good. At the end of the day, I said this the other day to someone. I said, at the end of the day, the opinion that matters most about anything pertaining to you is yours. Someone can say whatever else they want to say to you. If you do not allow that opinion to affect you, it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. And I just hate so much people let so many other opinions matter besides their own. Like, can you first? I'm not saying don't take anything anyone says to you into account, especially when it comes to like health or like general hygiene. Take care of yourself. Try not to die, take your medicine, shower, frequently enough. I hope, fair enough. But like, I don't like your face. It's not for you then. It's not for you then. Okay, bye. Like I don't care. Like, I don't know, man. And that haircut issue was the same thing for me. I was like, the hair ain't for you. Like I don't want your head. You stay on my head. Like, if I wanted to cut, I'd come to your shop. If I don't, I'm not. Like,
and that opinion is normal now, right? Is to directly be like, oh, I want you to be like this. I want you to look like this, and I want to tell you that. That's normal. Why would that ever be normal for you? It's like, to me, there's so much privilege in saying, I want you to look how I want you to look like. You know what I mean? Like, that's, to me, it's just like, you don't, it's just like you say, like, you don't know any of this. Don't own any of it. This world, it's not yours. Right. And still you go, well, you need to fix that.
You gonna pay for
because I have to look at it.
right?
And that's a problem.
Are you gonna pay for my cut? You gonna pay for that makeup? You gonna send it to me for free? Then sure, I'll try it. But if you're not, then stop. It's my money, my face, my hair. Whatever. I digress. It annoys me.
Clothes, the same thing.
What you
people
want,
do that,
and I hate that. It's trendy. I was like, do you like the clothes? Do you like it? It's trend. I don't care. It looks dumb. Would you wear it? I used to tell people, last thing I'm gonna say. Would you wear it if it wasn't in? That's the question I was asking. Because that looks stupid to me. But I'm not gonna say it to their face always unless they ask me the opinion. If you ask me an opinion, I'm gonna give you my opinion. I'm gonna say if it looks stupid to me. But again, otherwise I'm just like, that looks pretty dumb in my head. I'm gonna move on to my life. I don't care. It's your life. You wear what you want. If you want to wear some SpaghettiOs in your shirt, wear SpaghettiOs in your shirt. I don't care. Like if you want to pay someone to buy, to give you ripped clothes, then pay someone to give you ripped clothes. I don't care. That's for you. You do that. But it won't be me. But
what were those Yeezy crop things or whatever? Right. And I every time I see him, I go like, do you think those look okay? Do you think those look good? And he's like, and they're always like, I mean, they Yeezys.
Right.
I'm like, but do you think they look good? And they're always like, I mean, they look, they're a little weird,
I love, in fact, I'm gonna keep saying that. I love because one guy, we asked him that, he was like, no, they look like space shoes, but they're comfortable. Hey, you know what?
Right.
I respect that ish, man. I respect that ish, man. I respect the freak out that, man. I dapped that dude. I like you, man. This guy real, man. That's all I want. That's what it is. You don't have to be an individual. I just want you to be real. That's it. I don't give a freak about individuality. Be real, man. That's it.
Keeping it real can't go wrong.
It can, but I'd rather it go wrong with you keeping it real than keeping it not. Because it'd be going very wrong. People not keeping it real right so far. Very, very wrong.
One other thing on beauty, I saw something on Reddit. It was like The Witcher One of the actresses, well, one of the directors was like, "We chose this actress to challenge beauty standards," and the actress was so beautiful, and I was just like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Are you dissing her for some reason? Like
I didn't think she was cute. I didn't think.
Like, I've lived with the ugly my entire life. I was molded by it. Ugliest motherfucker alive, and you're showing me this beautiful person and telling me you're challenging beauty standards. Stop it. Get out of here.
That man said I didn't want to cast her. I want to cast. She
Was
was
she a
waiting.
different race or something?
I don't know.
Okay.
But she looked good.
I assume that's always the thing. It's like,
Oh, yeah,
challenging
yeah.
beauty standards.
Yeah,
Here's
yeah.
a black woman.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. Not blonde hair for one.
Yeah.
She's a brunette. Shaky.
Natural hair.
Like, okay, all right. Thank you, media.
It's got to be the podcast title, though. When keeping it real goes wrong.
but we were still talking about how you can get out of it. We didn't even say anything. We just ranted the whole time.
I mean, I think it all boils down to what you said, right? It's like, be real.
Yeah, that's true.
Literally.
Be real, yeah, man. Take some time, invest in yourself. People are so scared to be by. So not everyone, but there's a lot of people so scared to be by themselves. Be by yourself for a little bit. Be like, no, what do I like? What on Netflix do I actually like? What on not what it's recommended to you? What do you actually like? What on what clothes do I actually like? What do I actually like sports? Do I actually like drama more? Do I actually like 9-Day Fiance? I think what do you actually like? Like take some time to get to know yourself. People don't even do that anymore. Like you say things about yourself and people are like, I never even thought about that. I'm like, why? Why haven't you thought about the things that you like and the things that you really care about as a person? And you're like 30 years old or something, or 40 years old, or even older sometimes. I'm like, you should be thinking about that. I feel like earlier, a lot earlier than that. But better late than never. But I just think take some time to do that. Step away from the social media. Step away from the social media. Because all it does, so many people, comparison is the thief of all joy. I'm sure people have heard that a billion times. Please internalize that. It is the truth for everything. Like, okay, this guy's in Guatemala, great. Or this guy's in freaking Qatar or freaking, Dubai or wherever else, Egypt, and seeing, freaking, Madagascar. I don't care. Seeing the lemus. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Like, you don't know these people's circumstances. This person's flex. This is a freaking CGI at this point. Who knows what this is? This could be AI generated background. We don't even know anymore. Like, just stop even comparing yourself to these people. I wish I could do that. I wish I had that. Do what's in your power to enjoy your life the most you can and as responsibly as you can, and not ruining other people's lives in the process. That's all you got to do. Take the time to get to know yourself. Stay away from social media so you can be like, you know what? Who am I? What are my actual goals? What are my actual things that I really, really care about? What are the actual things I really, really want to achieve? Things I really, really want to see and do? If you're not a person that wants to travel, you don't have to make social media say you have to travel to be a successful person or to be a person that is cool or a person that is interesting. You don't have to. If that's not what you're into, that's okay. And I just hate the fact that people want to make just step away from it. Just step away from it. Just step away from social media. Give yourself some time to be introspective, think about yourself and what you want, what you are, who you are, and just, whatever that is, if it's meditation, if it's listening to music, if it's, just laying down, sleeping, dreaming, whatever, dude, stargazing, do those things. If you got to go to the mountains, take a hike, whatever, do it. Do it and give yourself the opportunity to just connect with yourself. That is super, super important, and not enough people do it. And I think if more people did it, then we wouldn't have these plethora of issues with people having this one-track mentality and not being able to differentiate real versus fake, because social media is fake, people. It is not real.
Seems like we got into a lot. we might have done a little extra.
A little extra, you say? All right, we got the lead in from Robert this time.
I like
for
it.
Extra time.
I like it.
Well, first off, well wishes to LeBron James Jr., otherwise known as Bronny. He had a cardiac arrest while practicing earlier this week. they were able to get him immediate help, and he's out of the hospital now, hoping he gets better. So switching over to big time money, Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics was given the largest contract in NBA history at 5 years and $304 million. It's obviously going to be topped in the years to come, but the largest contract in NBA history now belongs to Jaylen Brown, a guy who can't go to his left and can't dribble.
No!
Turn over the ball.
I'm just saying.
I mean, he does it better than me.
I mean, you're right. He does better than me too. I want to become part of his singularity. It's impressive, man.
Also in big money news, soccer player named Kylian Mbappe of France was offered over $700 million to play a single season.
Yeah.
$700 million for a single season of soccer in Saudi Arabia. And I'm just like, man, if you got kids, make them play soccer, basketball, make that money in earnest when they get older. But right now he's saying no to the deal. But gosh, that's a lot of money.
I'm about to lace the boots back up, get back out there.
Right?
Saudi Arabia, man, I'm available, free agent. Let's go.
In more soccer news, Lionel Messi had a dream debut for the Inter Miami in the MLS last week. He came off the bench and he notched a walk-off goal in the 94th minute, literally the end of the game against Cruz Azul. So congrats to him. Football news, the Washington Commanders were officially sold from the previous owner and public nuisance Daniel Snyder. Hate that guy. It was sold to Josh Harris for $6 billion. So more big money being moved.
That's gracious,
Snyder was also under investigation for workplace misconduct and withholding money from the league, and he was fined $60 million for that. So don't withhold money.
Hey.
Or else you pay big.
That's a big
Staying in football, just an attaboy to Jaguars assistant strength and conditioning coach named Kevin Maxson. He came out as gay, believed to be the first male American major pro sports coach to come out. So congrats to him, especially for his courage in the state of Florida, where the Jaguars are. As always, fuck Ron DeSantis, but you know, America, remember, if you feel alone, I may not know you, we may never meet, but I will always stand in your corner. You have that Alonzo guarantee right there.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But the summer 2023 X Games happened last week. If you don't know what the X Games are, it's a series of action sports founded by ESPN. They had sports such as skateboarding, BMX, motocross. And in fact, skateboarding will be debuting as an Olympic sport next year in Paris. But what I wanted to bring up was that there was a 10-year-old in the skateboarding event who received a silver medal. They only lost out to go to a 13-year-old who became the first woman to land a 720 in X Games competition. But the 10-year-old was the youngest ever to medal at the X Games. So my questions are: did any of you have a skater phase? Like, did you have did you try your hand at skateboard, longboard, even one of those fingerboards? Like you play with the class. Like, I think I tried a skateboard once and I fell on my ass because it had no balance. And then another question: did you all try your hand at any youth sports? Because I mean, we had a 10-year-old and 13-year-old out there medaling, showing people up. Like, what's your excuse?
Yeah,
you know,
I'm trash.
I had dreams of making it big in baseball when I was younger. At one point, I started out in t-ball, was terrible at it. Track football, terrible at it. So I quit entirely. So, what's going on with y'all?
Yeah. I mean, if the question about skateboarding phase, like, no, I don't think. Other than the fingerboard stuff,
I thought you would have.
Although I did have big ass skater shoes when I was in middle school. They were like super comfortable.
Oh, they're like so padded, aren't they?
Yeah. So I was like, all right. I mean, I have to get these shoes now. But no, I never tried. We're DC.
DCs. Everybody has the DCs, man.
DC.
Big ass shoes. The biggest freak.
And yeah, but I don't think I've ever been like into like actual skateboarding or anything, but other than like you said, the fingerboarding
Fingerboarding.
in the middle of class, throwing my fucking skateboard at the board or whatever.
Or Lord, get it.
Yeah. But and then any sports. I mean, my mom put me in football when I was young, and that was awful. And football hurt a lot, and I was like, why would I do that? I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, I can see that.
And but I did play a lot of basketball around my neighborhood and stuff, and that's where I thought that I was like, oh, I'm gonna get really good at basketball.
Yeah.
And I was like only basically shooting threes like all the time. I was like, all right,
Steph
come
Curry.
on, I'm good at this. And then like anytime I played against anyone, it would beat my ass. But yeah. So then, but then, yeah, I got into like when I expected, like parents and stuff to be like, oh well, like we're gonna put you in this sport or whatever, and then it just kept falling through where it was like, well, you can do a sport thing, or you can do like a orchestra thing. And I was like, well, I love my cello, so I'll be the nerd. I'll be the nerd instead.
Well, know yourself. As we talked about, know yourself.
So yeah. But the other thing, BMX. So like, biking was the thing
Oh, yeah, true.
when I was young. Like everyone in my neighborhood had bikes. All my friends had bikes. We bike everywhere. We go far as fuck, like outside our neighborhood into whatever place, just because, and yeah. So I when I saw
on
things
journeys.
like BMX sports stuff, and I was like, oh man, that's cool. I didn't even think about that as even a possibility, but yeah.
I wanted one of those BMX bikes for.
Yeah,
Like I wanted one to
you
get.
get the pegs on your bikes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're gonna be able to do the little. Yeah, I don't know. Hold willies. I can hold a willy for a little bit. Anyway. But yeah, for the skateboard phase thing. I tried the finger. I was really bad at fingerboarding. I let that one go. I was like, I'm terrible at this. Some people were just going. I was like, what the freak? I was like, I ain't got it. So I let that one go real quick. But I did have a little longboarding phase. What was this? Man, maybe it was after college. I think it was like it might have been. I think it was after college actually, because I ain't no car, and I was like my leg's strong, so I was like, I'm gonna get my kick push like Lupe Fiasco, coast to coast. And that's what I did. I was like that thing was that longboard. I least found that ish. Someone literally was just like throwing it away on like the last day of like school or whatever, and I was like, hey, I'll take the longboard on this thing. Stepped on it. It's 30. I'm like, all right, I need that. Took that junk back. Use that junk by transportation.
Is that when you were in Arkansas?
That was like the gap between
Oh.
I went there. So, but yeah, so I that was cool. So it was cool for a little bit. I enjoyed it. It was fun. I mean, like it's cool, and when you get used to it, it's pretty cool. And I mean, I definitely was never doing like crazy stuff on there like other people, like doing all the steps and no, I'm not doing all that. I can just ride. I keep the balance to and from. I can do some sharp turns and U-turns. Like I can do that. Pretty good. That was it. It was the max. Cool, fun. Bust my butt sometimes. Not the best, but it was cool. But as far as sports, yeah, I did plenty of sports. As a kid, main ones, I did basketball for a long time until about middle school, like towards the end of middle school. I was good. I was good at basketball. But I was like, I'm not growing. I'm like, I'm 5'2" or something. I'm like, this is not it, dude. These kids are like 5'8" and ish in like sixth grade, and I'm like, yeah, there's no chance for me here. I need to move sports. But I was also playing soccer at the time. Obviously, soccer is like been my big thing as well. So I was playing soccer that whole time too, and I also ran track too. So I did a bunch of stuff. But soccer was the one that I really, really, really loved. Like track was fun, but it just felt painful more than anything. It was just like I'm just running for no, And then I was doing like semi-long distances, like 400, 800 and stuff, and it was like. It's like, no, I can't just, for just running sake of, so soccer was like, you're running for a purpose the whole time, and you can, a little more strategic and stuff like that. So I liked it. So soccer was a big thing. But again, I got really, really good for my age group at like 15, like 14, 15. And I was like, okay, maybe, but then I saw, I think this was around the time Lionel Messi came out as he was like 15,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit before this. No, a couple years before, because he's not my age. He's way older than me. So, well, not way older than me, a couple years older than me. So it was a couple years before that Lionel Messi came out. And he was like 15, when he started for Barcelona, one of the top, probably 2 to 3 biggest clubs in the world. Came out on the field, and I'm like, this guy's 15. Let's see how good he is. He was real good, y'all. I was like, I ain't that good. I ain't nowhere near that good. This is a problem. So I was like, well, pro does not look realistic, Now, again, comparing myself to Lionel Messi, again, presumptuous at best. But, I quickly realized that I probably was not, going to go pro unless I did some things very differently, Definitely did not take school as serious as I was taking it. I would definitely devote a lot more of that energy to soccer. And my parents were not going to let me do that. So, stuck with school, and that worked out fine. But it was do I think I could have gone pro? If in any way in this current lifetime, no way. There's no way I could have gone pro. My parents would not have let me do it. Any of the things necessary that would have had to do to be pro, which is okay because coming from where they came from, the sacrifice they had to make, I probably wouldn't have let me either. Well, yeah, no, but like you take that % chance of a sport that's not even popular in America to try and like do that, like no. So, but again, it was fun to do, and like I said, it was a part of like growing up, and one of my big interests now still soccer and developing that and sharing that with other people and using that as a way now to like connect to other people and stuff like that. So it's cool, and yeah, it kept you in shape and led you to like I said, meet people, make bonds and kind of explore something that you're interested in. So it's fun. I never regret doing it. I just regretted not having more fun with it and taking it too serious at times. I was like, man, I should just enjoyed that ish, man. I would have played a lot more free and just did some stupid stuff and get yelled at a little bit, but whatever. So, but it was good. I enjoyed it when I did it. Do I don't have any regrets about it at this point in my life, and I think more people should just try stuff like that. Not necessarily even sports, just try stuff. I tried a bunch of stuff as a kid. Just this looks cool on TV. I'll try it. Maybe you suck at it. Maybe you don't like it. It's okay. That's okay. Do not keep doing it. Especially if you don't have to spend a whole bunch of money to do it. Just try stuff. You don't like it. It's okay. You're not going to be good at everything. And that is also fine. So, but yeah. That's anyway. I'm not gonna go on any more tangents. But I'll just say soccer coaches are hilarious, especially African ones. What are you doing on the ball? Just playing around, man. Hey, if you want to play, then go to the playgrounds and play around. Great. Anyway, African coaches are great. They're great. But soccer is fun sport. Everyone should enjoy it. The Women's World Cup is on. Watch it. Support your support your country on there. I'm supporting both of mine, Nigeria and America, both doing big things in there. So, yeah, soccer's that sport. Make you some money and get your kids really in it.
My football coach, he'd be like, well, one, he'd be like, Robert, you're not doing the exercises. You're not doing the drills.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta run around the field all day. So you gotta run around the field.
That punishment,
every day.
Every day you're doing them all.
Put you 6 inches off the ground. I want to see it off the ground. But my legs be on the ground. Not 6 inches. And then when we didn't do that, he would line us up like 2 lines, and you had to like run across the field and tackle somebody. And he would always line me up with this fucking big ass guy. And he's like, and then the guy was crazy. I swear to God, he was crazy. Because he would just make, as soon as he would just be all normal, and then he'd be like, all right, Terrence, go hit Robert. He was, ah! And he was just like, take off, so angry. I'm like, oh, bro is insane. I hate this.
I saw this guy's rabies.
Bro is insane. Yeah. So that's why I was like, done. Right after that, that's it. I fucking, like, muscle a little bit at one point, and I was like,
I wasn't supposed to be that funny.
I was done. I was like, it hurt. What is that feeling? And I was like, oh, you pulled it. And I was like, oh, shit.
Oh,
That's what that feeling is?
That's freaking hilarious for
I
some reason.
thought I was
don't know why.
dying. So, yeah, I am not a fan of sports. Playing me.
To each their own. To each their own. Well, I think that wraps us up here, you know. Wraps up like, well, we got wrapped up for those tackles. That's what but you know, thanks for this is a very serious discussion. I hopefully you guys took some good things out of it and had some fun along the way. But again, thank you for listening to us ramble. Thanks for procrastinating with this. We out.